Welcome back for part 16 of the Dungeons & Dragons Icewind Dale Rime of the Frostmaiden book series. This video will continue by covering wilderness survival in Icewind Dale. In this episode, we'll look at what it's like to travel in this frozen world. The Icewind Dale book covers many hazards which the players will face as they move around north of the spine of the world. This area was already dangerously cold, but now that a reel has created the endless winter, it's gotten worse. Many of us may not remember the rules involved with the extreme cold and the hazards associated with this environment. If a group is to go into Icewind Dale, a quick review would be nice. Let's see what players are up against in Icewind Dale. Number 1, extreme cold. During the everlasting winter, the average temperature is minus 49 degrees Fahrenheit and the wind chill is minus 80. A creature exposed to the extreme cold such as this must make a DC 10 Constitution save at the end of each hour or gain 1 level of exhaustion. Creatures with resistance or immunity to cold damage automatically succeed, as do creatures wearing cold weather clothing and creatures naturally adapted to cold climates such as reindeer and owlbears. So what is considered cold weather clothing? A player will need a heavy fur coat or cloak over layers of wool clothing, a fur-lined hat or hood, goggles to protect the eyes, and fur-lined leather boots and gloves. This gear will only cost 10 gold piece in 10 towns if it's needed. As long as the person or creature is dry, they will automatically save on saves against extreme cold. Something else which could be added are crampons. A person wearing crampons, which is a metal plate with spikes strapped to the sole of a boot, can't fall prone while moving across slippery ice. Crampons only cost 2 gold piece and are worth a small expense. Snowshoes reduce the chance of a player getting stuck in deep snow. Snowshoes only cost 2 gold piece also. Next we have avalanches. A typical avalanche is 300 feet wide, 150 feet long, and 30 feet thick. When an avalanche occurs, all nearby creatures must roll initiative. Twice each round, on initiative counts 10 and 0, the avalanche travels 300 feet until it can travel no more. Any creature in its space moves along with it and falls prone. The creature must make a DC 15 strength save or take 1d10 bludgeoning damage on a failed save or half damage on a successful save. When the avalanche stops, anyone caught in it is buried, blinded, restrained, and has total cover. The creature gains 1 level of exhaustion for every 5 minutes that it's buried in the snow. It can dig itself free if it succeeds on a DC 15 strength athletics check. A creature that fails this check 3 times can't dig itself out. So the low strength characters are at high risk here. An unrestrained creature can spend 1 minute freeing another creature buried in the snow. Next we have blizzards. A blizzard will last 2d4, that's 2 to 8 hours, and the following rules apply. The loud winds limit hearing range to 100 feet. All ranged weapon attacks are made at disadvantage. A wisdom perception check for hearing is made at disadvantage. All open flames are extinguished. Fog is dispersed. All tracks in the snow are erased. Flying by non-magical means is nearly impossible. Visibility is only 30 feet. Creatures without eye protection have disadvantage on wisdom perception checks that rely on sight. Any creature concentrating on a spell must succeed on a DC 10 Constitution saving throw at the end of its turn or lose concentration unless they're in a shelter. Anyone traveling in the blizzard must make a DC 15 Wisdom survival check or veer off course. On a fail, the party gets no closer to their destination than they were an hour ago, so it's like they never even moved if they fail. If the check fails by 5 or more and the members aren't tied together, one member is randomly lost and separated from the others. A DC 15 Wisdom survival check is needed to find the lost person at the end of each hour. So the party essentially ends up deaf, blind, slowed, lost, without fire, finding it difficult to cast spells, and at a disadvantage on some attacks. How's that for a list of limitations? So blizzards can be really bad. Next we have Frigid Water. A creature can be in frigid water for a number of minutes equal to its constitution score before harmful effects start to occur. For each additional minute spent in the water, a DC 10 constitution save must be made, or 1 level exhaustion is gained. Creatures with resistance or immunity to cold damage always succeed on the save. Next, we can look at Illumination. The everlasting rime causes all natural light to be dim at best. In non-blizzard conditions, twilight extends from 10 to 2, so that's not long. Icewind Dale is otherwise dark unless the moon is out or Auriel's aura is occurring. Next, we can look at overland travel. Travel across the tundra is much slower than what most characters are probably going to realize till they're in it. Looking at the methods and the distance in an hour. On foot without snowshoes, a 1/4 mile per hour. That's incredibly slow. On foot with snowshoes, 1/2 mile per hour. Dog sled, 1 mile per hour. So you figure even at the best with dog sled, that's about 1/3 the speed movement that it usually is. Travel in town and on roads is faster. When considering how to travel, don't forget that dogs are expensive and they require food, water, and shelter. The cost of travel must also be considered. A dog sled costs 20 gold piece, weighs 300 pounds, and has room for only 1 driver. A sled dog costs 50 gold piece and can pull 360 pounds. That's 1 tough dog. Use the wolf stat block for these dogs. Sled dogs must take a short rest after pulling a sled for just 1 hour, so you aren't going very far before they have to rest. If they don't, the dog gains 1 level of exhaustion. Players will soon come to realize that travel is going to be way slower than what they thought. While we're talking about exhaustion, let's review the rules. Look at the levels and the effects. Level 1, disadvantage on ability checks. Level 2, speed gets halved. 3, disadvantage on attack rolls and saving throws. Level 4, hit point maximum is halved. Level 5, speed is reduced to 0, and 6 levels of exhaustion is death. Don't forget that a player at any level of exhaustion will also be suffering from all the levels below it too. Finishing a long rest reduces a level of exhaustion by 1. That's it, provided that the creature also has ingested food and drink. These rules are in the player's handbook on page 291. Axe beaks are another means of transportation. An axe beak can be purchased in 10 towns for 50 gold and can carry as much weight as a mule, so that's a lot of weight. The book doesn't specify travel time by axe beak, but looking at the monster manual, the wolf speed movement's 40, the axe beak is 50, so they're pretty much the same. Next we have mountain travel. The terrain on the spine of the world, mountain range, or any other will be slow and difficult. At the end of each hour, the character must make a DC 15 Wisdom Survival check. On a save, the hour's journey was not slowed. On a fail, the party reaches an impasse and must backtrack. This will cost an additional hour of travel time. If the check fails by 5 or more, the party is caught in an avalanche. The avalanche will start 2d6 times 100 feet above the characters. Also, the mountain travel time is different from what was found earlier on the tundra. It's even slower. On foot without snowshoes, 1/8 of a mile per hour. That's incredibly slow. On foot with snowshoes, 1/4 mile per hour, and dog sleds only a 1/2 mile distance per hour. So that is way slower than what even that slow tundra was. If the DM needs to know, slippery ice is considered difficult terrain. When a creature moves across it for the first time, they must succeed on a DC 10 Dexterity Acrobatics check or fall prone. Don't forget that if a player is wearing crampons, this can't happen. What if thin ice were to be encountered? Thin ice has a weight tolerance of 3d10 times 10 pounds per 10-foot square area. That's 30 to 100 pounds. When the total weight exceeds its tolerance, the ice breaks and all creatures fall through. Considering the extremely cold temperatures of Icewind Dale, this is not likely to be needed. The ice should be very thick unless otherwise stated. So this wraps up icy travel, icy hazards, and the rules associated with it. Until next time, good luck and good gaming.